What's going on, Bulls fans? Welcome to another episode of Chicago Bulls Central, your number one spot for everything Chicago Bulls related. And as we know, the Bulls have maybe started their 2026 plan to get Giannis Antetokounmpo by signing his brother Kostas. Is that true? Is that realistic? We'll break that down right after this.
You are now tuned in to Chicago Bulls Central, your number one place for all Chicago Bulls news and content.
All right, Bulls fans. So as many of you guys have gotten the notification that the Bulls are signing Kostas Antetokounmpo, I think I may have just flubbed that name a little bit, but nonetheless, to a training camp deal. So what does that mean? That means that he's going to be competing for one of the two-way spots. Now, we know that both of those so far are going to Malcolm Hill and Justin Lewis, but as many of you guys should know is that with two-way contracts, you can cut them at any point in time. So yeah, they could. Now, with Justin Lewis, I believe they can still, because it's only a two-way contract, that they can still cut it at any time, even with him being injured. Malcolm Hill, even though we just announced that they signed him a few weeks ago, they can cut that and give Kostas that deal. So we're going to talk that from the aspect first, and then we're going to talk about what does that mean maybe for the does this point towards any long-term plans to sign Giannis Antetokounmpo? So while the Bulls do need size, and they already missed out on bringing in McCord Maker, who ended up going and signing a deal elsewhere, you know, bringing in Kostas Koufos, who is has legit size at 6'10", 200-pound power forward / center, something that we could need on a two-way contract, just looking at this, especially if they don't see it for Tony Bradley, things like that. There is legitimate basketball reasons outside of trying to recruit Giannis to bring in Kostas Antetokounmpo to this team. Now, like I said, the way that worked, the fact of like working it out with a different two-way deal or whatever else, you know what? At the end of the day is this. Malcolm Hill does bring some things that we could possibly need on this team. When you look at him being able to play the 3/4, a pretty solid shooter in both Summer League and in the G League play last season, not quite the best in the actual NBA play, Malcolm Hill has some reasons why you'd want to see him be on this team, but looking at it, right? Looking at Malcolm Hill, yeah, kind of, if you do need to bring up or call him Malcolm Hill, yes, he's been in the league longer. He has a little bit more experience. But the Bulls could very well look at that and say, hey, we got this kid named Dalen Terry, who's also 6'7", 195 pounds, who projects to be a much longer part of the Chicago Bulls rotation. They could very well say, hey, Malcolm Hill, I know we signed you to this deal, but adios. You know, we can bring you back on a G League deal or whatever else. If we do end up cutting Tony Bradley or whatever, maybe we bring you in then. And then bringing in Kostas Antetokounmpo, and then not only do you have the longevity play of trying to sign Giannis in the future, but then you also have a person of need, right? That we don't have a lot of size on this team, especially with what we said if Marko Simonovic isn't quite ready, and you can bring him in and cultivate him. Kostas is only 24 years old, so while not the youngest, he's also not aging to the point where it doesn't make any sense to maybe think, hey, can we develop something with this? Yes, he's played with the Mavericks. He's played for the Los Angeles Lakers. And he's played heavily over in Europe. But maybe the Bulls do see some legitimate basketball reasons to bring him in. And I wanted to talk about that and not lay it all, as many publications are going to do, on just the long-term play of bringing in Giannis Antetokounmpo. But now, with that being said and me doing my due diligence there, let's have some fun with it. Signing Giannis, who can be his free agent as early as the summer of 2025 if he does not pick up his player option, has a player option for the 2025-26 season. And looking at the Chicago Bulls salary cap situation up until then, that's probably the next time up that the Bulls can make a huge move as far as even bringing in somebody who's going to need the type of contract that Giannis would demand. The Bulls have right now 4 players under contract going into the summer of 2025. Again, that's the earliest Giannis could possibly be a free agent. He could be a free agent if he picks up his player option a year after that. But the Bulls only have Zach LaVine, Lonzo Ball, Alex Caruso, and Dalen Terry officially under contract now. Now, we do expect Patrick Williams to get an extension. We do also expect Ayo Dosunmu to get an extension there. We'll see what happens with Marco if he shows enough. Some people doubt it. It's not necessarily a foregone conclusion like I think with the other two. So the Bulls will have more than enough cap space with looking how, kind of like the previous front office did leading into the summer where we tried to sign LeBron and Dwayne Wade, is that if they truly think that they have a chance and a route to get Giannis Antetokounmpo, we can see shorter term deals, a 1+1 sign to there to really maintain most of that cap space and make that plan. As many teams are going to be doing is making a plan to be in a situation to sign Giannis if he does become an unrestricted free agent. So with that being said, the Bulls, again, having only 4 players officially under contract, more like 6 when you factor in kind of the extensions that we know are going to happen, maybe more. We'll see what else they do in drafts, if they make any other acquisitions. We already know that the Bulls are planning to talk extension to Nikola Vucevic. I don't see it going that far, or if it is going that far, they'll probably have an option for them to get out of it by then. So the Bulls could genuinely make a move for Giannis Antetokounmpo. Now, this is a long-term play. This is so long from now. We're talking about at the earliest 3 years from now, and more than likely 4 years from now. So bringing in Kostas Antetokounmpo right now, it really is, at that point, do you see Kostas staying in the Chicago Bulls organization for 4 years? That's the kind of questionable thing with this. And I know Giannis had the interview, and then in which he said, hey, you never know if I'll play for Chicago. Maybe someday everybody would love to play with them, that we talked about. We played the clip too. Now, I do think, though, that there's a little bit of looking too much into it. That's why I wanted to talk about just the basketball reasons of bringing in Kostas first, because there's absolutely just flat out that they are just bringing him in to add some size, that they see something in him, that AK Eversley sees some potential, and then they're like, hey, we can bring him in here, bring him along in our organization. Maybe we can turn him into something. But of course, as many people and as Bulls fans hope, especially after the clip that released, is there going to be a lot of Bulls fans that are hoping and thinking that this is the first step in a long-term play to get Giannis Antetokounmpo. I'm not calling it one way or another now. It could be both. It could just be true basketball reasons to bring in Kostas, or it could be both. It could be, hey, yeah, we see a route for Kostas to possibly be a two-way player on this team and to contribute, and maybe in a year or so take the place of Tony Bradley. We could see that. But this also could be something to where they're doing both at the same time, bringing in Kostas into this organization, him having great things to say about us to his brother, us treating him well. We can see the route to that. So, this is going to cause a lot of excitement in Bulls Nation. You're going to have a lot of content creators that get their video outs that talk about how this is the first step in the path to signing Giannis. I'm just not quite 100% sold on it yet. I do see that it will, and probably very, very well may be that. But let's temper those expectations. Let's see what happens. But at the end of the day, if this is what AK and Eversley are doing, they're putting themselves in the best position to be able to sign Giannis if and when he becomes a free agent. Hats off to them for having the foresight and bringing in Giannis's family member to try to help do everything they can to bring Giannis to this organization. We'll see where it falls. It's going to be a long-term play. It's going to be something that we watch for years and years because, like I said, at the earliest, it's 3 years from now before we can even talk about that being a realistic option, and more than likely 4 years. But we'll see. Let me know down below. How excited are you about this? Do you think that this is a true play as far as making the signs to sign Giannis? Or do you think, like me, that there could just be a legitimate basketball reason for why Kostas is in this organization? Let me know what you guys think about all that down below. Make sure you're following the show at Bulls Central Pod. You can send us any feedback, questions, comments, concerns, bullscentralpod@gmail.com. Last, if you want to leave a text and or voicemail, the number to do so, what is the number to do so? 773-270-2799. We are the #1 spot for everything Chicago Bulls related because you guys, and like to end everything on Go Bulls. Love you guys. Peace, y'all.
This has been a presentation of the Break Media.